Hey folks, this is Rebel Rousing Rich Bergeron.
This is Winnie with the Johnny Panico. And Psychic Tom Paget with ready to nail some predictions for the big weekend.
Alright, we got lots of combat sports coming up, a lot more MMA stuff than boxing this week. But we had some big matches last week. Sergio Garcia got another win over Maxime Busire in boxing there. Last Saturday, Brandon Figueroa got a win last Sunday over Oscar Escandon. See what else we had. Jorge Linares beat Abner Cotto, and George Groves last Friday lost to Callum Smith in the boxing Super Series. I heard he
got ripped up pretty good.
Didn't really get a chance to see any of that, unfortunately. Yeah, he had high hopes going in, but not so much going out. And we got some boxing to talk about. Of course, this Saturday, it's a big day. A couple good fights coming up. But the big headline story this week is, of course, UFC 229. We're going to get into that. But as I predicted last week, off the cuff, not really being serious, trying to think this was going to be a 5-round war. Mousasi, if I had to pick, I said was going to win. And, of course, TKO, second round. Elbows and punches. He didn't wait very long. The experience was the key, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get to see any of the card because, for some reason, they broadcast Peppa Pig instead. Have you heard this?
No.
This is a true story. It didn't happen to me. It didn't really happen to me. This is a segue. This is a hilarious but true story. British fight fans, okay, they were livid because their Channel 5 Bellator 206 main event was shifted to Peppa Pig, the kids' TV show. It's really happened. I'm not even making this up.
Well, like the time that football game got that amazing comeback got preempted for Heidi or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. They just mentioned that in the article, too. The Heidi game moment.
Yeah. So this was on that stream, and they got mixed up?
I guess in the UK it was Channel 5.
Oh, okay. So they didn't have to stream it. It was supposed to be televised, and it wasn't.
It's even worse up over there because they had to stay up until 6 a.m. to watch this. So now they're watching an episode of Peppa Pig flipping out. All my fights.
Not funny, but I can't help but laugh.
Yeah, it's not funny, but actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah, there you go.
I guess it was just the main event, so they didn't miss the whole show. Right as the main event was starting now. So the people had to stay up to 6 a.m. to see the main event. Here's this one person's tweet from the UK. Pathetic UK TV Channel 5. Stay up all night, then goes off as the main event. Bellator 206 starts for Peppa Pig. WTF. Wankers. Yeah, Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig.
I would not even know what Peppa Pig was, but my girlfriend works in a bakery, so she was asked to make Peppa Pig stuff one day. I actually had no idea who that was, and she had to explain it to me, and then I ended up seeing a snippet of an episode myself, and I was like, wow, is this for real? I could make the show. Anyway. Michael McDonald. This is not a joke. Retiring from mixed martial arts. UFC and Bellator veteran bantamweight fighter. Announced basically because of multiple hand surgeries, it's just not worth competing anymore. So he's been his last in UFC at Fight Night 91, 2016, and then he was over in Bellator for a little while.
Yeah, he won his last fight, so at least he went out on a good note. But
yeah.
sorry to hear that. Always liked him.
And he said, this last fight, everything was perfect. This feels good. Most people, when they quit, it's because they can't hang. They've been beaten out of the sport, and their family is sitting them down and asking them to please stop. For me, it's not a matter of skill or being able to perform, but I'm at a point where the cost is greater than the reward. And he said, I'm exhausted of these hand injuries. I'm exhausted of breaking my body in half. So, we'll see what's next for him. One of the major stories this week. Johnny Hendricks, here's a UFC / bare knuckle boxing story. He's coming up on a big event. He's going to be fighting Brennan Ward at World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation's inaugural event. And this is another one that's attracted a lot of ex-MMA stars. He left MMA last June following a 1-5 slump that ended his octagon career, and he's 35 years old. He thinks this bare knuckle boxing could be more than just a one-fight deal. He says, I have a feeling I could do it for a while. My first coach ever in MMA, he was a bare knuckle world champ in Thailand. He showed me a lot of techniques, how to strengthen your hand and all that kind of stuff. How you can actually punish the body and where to hit on the arms, this and this, what to look for. So I'm sort of going back to that stage as well, where to hit on the arms, how to make sure that after that first round, let's say it goes past the first round, that he can no longer use his right arm because it hurts too bad, or his left arm because I keep punishing it the way I want to with some of the game plans I have in my head already. Those things can help.
It's awful funny. A lot of retired fighters are going there. Are these bouts sanctioned, and is USADA in the picture? Do you know?
That's an interesting question. I do believe that there's just one state that's officially regulated it. So whenever they've had it in other states, maybe there's Indian casinos involved. That's why they're allowed to do it. I'm not sure how they get away with that, but I'm pretty sure.
It kind of reminds me of the early MMA days, and there were all kinds of events canceled. I mean, guys were threatened with jail. There's all kinds of stuff. So, I'm just wondering about the USADA connection there.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think they are tested. Also, Joe Riggs, believe it or not, I got an employee who's a spitting image of Joe Riggs. He's supposed to be in these bare knuckle fights. He hasn't shown up yet. But this is big rig, is Hendricks. Hendricks is big rig. This guy I got working for me wants to be a fighter too. He wants me to train him. But he smokes cigarettes, so we gotta make sure he quits those first.
Yeah, that might be a pretty good first step.
Yeah. I shouldn't.
Oh, and by the way, before I forget, did either of you guys see the initial press conference with Wilder and Tyson Fury?
I did not, but I sure as hell heard a lot about it.
What a circus!
Oh yeah,
it's available. It's available online, I'm sure.
I'm glad you brought that up. I sound like a politician now, but I'm glad you asked that question, Tom. But no, I had people that did mention it to me, and a few people I was debating with on social media. One of them is a boxing guy. He's a writer. Jeff Freeman's name is. He's like 6'10", and he writes his page is KO Digest, right? And he put something out on there, and one of the things he said was, he's like, Fury's like an oak tree anymore. They said like Fury's saying he lost something like 160 pounds, and now he's down to 270. I'm like, I know he was 6'9" and shit, but he was 430 pounds. That's a lot of pounds, So once again, that's something I heard. But someone's like, man, I don't know if Fury's going to be able to, take down this oak tree and this and that. And I said, because I remember Steve Cunningham, who was a blown-up cruiserweight, and not a big puncher for a cruiserweight, dropping Fury with one punch. And Fury, and I was talking to Steve last week on social media, and he does the same thing. Fury won that fight because he fought like a gorilla. He used a 60-plus pound weight advantage on a guy he was about 270. Cunningham was maybe 210, and he just basically mauled him. He bear hugged him, he clinched him, he leaned on him, and he used that weight advantage on a guy that was 40 years old. Phenomenal, yes, but still 40 years old, to wear Cunningham down. And then he finally stopped him in the 7th round or something. But, I mean, now you're talking with Deontay Wilder, a guy who is a 6'7" and 250-pound version of Steve Cunningham. So that's a little bit different. You're not going to, rough him up like that. And then someone else goes, Fury is going to take him. Wilder doesn't impress me in this round. I'm like, first of all, to say Wilder doesn't have what he needs to knock Fury out is ridiculous.
Come on. Yeah, we're saying that.
Thank you. Because for Wilder, for all of his faults, you cannot take away the man's natural punching power. Is he amateurish? Yes. Is he wild? Yes. Can he get sloppy? Yes. Does he not use his natural abilities sometimes? Yes. But at the same time, the man hits you, that man can punch a hole through you. And I think, being, a young guy, that, he's going to go out there and, hey, trust me, will this fight get sloppy? Yes, but at the same time, if you go back and you watch that Fury-Klitschko fight, when you had King Kong and Godzilla dancing like ballerinas, Wilder ain't going to let that happen. Wilder ain't going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'll tap dance with you, because, neither guy wanted to engage. Wilder's going to want to engage. And I have a feeling, and I could be dead wrong on this, but I have a feeling that he is going to bring it to Fury. He's going to bring the Fury to Fury, and Fury's going to wilt under it mid-rounds.
Wow. There goes the computer.
Yeah.
Spits out the result before the fight. They don't call him the Rain Man of boxing for nothing, folks. He knows his statistics. Anyway, so we got obviously that fight coming up December. Big press war going on for that. I've been posting all kinds of comments and stuff from those press releases and photos from press releases that I'm getting. And I haven't even been reading them. I've been having to pump them out so fast lately. But, yeah. I will read one next time and find out what they're saying for the next show. Anyway, so, boxing coming up this weekend before we get to all the MMA. We got the World Boxing Organization Latino middleweight title on the line between Marcelo Esteban Caceres, 24-0-1, and Davi Eliashkovici, who is 14-6-1 in Argentina. Alright. Wade Ryan and Les Sherrington fighting down in South Wales, Australia, New South Wales. Wade Ryan is 15-7, Les Sherrington is 37-11 for the vacant OPBF silver middleweight title. And we have Quebec City, Canada. I've got a couple obscure titles here. They're just getting weirder and weirder. The Center Videotron up there in Quebec. We've got main event heavyweights Simon Keane and Dylan Carmen. Simon Keane is 15-0. Dylan Carmen is 13-3. They are fighting for the WBC Francophone heavyweight title. And I never heard of it. I think I have heard of it. Francophone. Where can I get a Francophone? I want some minutes.
Where does it stop? Where does it stop?
Your Francophone title? Come on. Alright, Steve Blair as the middleweight is fighting in the co-main event. He's 24-1-1. Fighting Jordan Balmier, who's 10-0 for the vacant WBC Francophone middleweight title. A lot of Francophones being handed out. I'm not going to pronounce the guy's name, who's the third fighter of the night. Yikes! This is a tough one even for me. But he's 13-0, fighting Patricio Moreno, who's 20-2 at super lightweight. So it's pretty stacked card for Canada, and it's not really on any United States TV, it looks like. There's a mismatch of the week, I guess you could say. From Pas-de-Calais, France, we have Vincent Legrand. Great boxing name. Vincent Legrand. He is 27-0. His record is Legrand.
Yes.
And he is fighting Kavicha Gigolashvili. And his unfortunate record is 18 wins, 29 losses, and 0 draws. Fighting in the main event.
0 draws, so at least he comes to fight, huh?
Yeah.
Leaves no doubt. One way or the other.
Yeah, usually the other. Oh. There's a guy who's 23-5 in Germany in middleweight, fighting a guy who's 15-97-5.
Ouch. That's the kind of, that's the lopsided of the week so far.
Ooh, here's another mismatch. The guy is 2-0, but Abbas Barrow in Germany, he's the co-main event. He's only 2-0. Fighting for the German BDB super welterweight title. He's fighting Robert Mace, who is 22-1, and Mr. Abbas Barrow is going to need some mace to beat this guy. 22-1. I don't even know his KOs, but yeah. 2-0 versus 22-1. Who's going to win that one? Main event, there is middleweights Patrick Wojcicki, who is 11-0-1, and Sven Elbier, who's 12-0. Now we'll see how that goes over there in Germany. Another one in Germany, Robert Mueller is involved. Uh-oh. Mueller. Mueller is 3-12, fighting a guy, Rene Hubner, who's 47-19-2. That's a mismatch of the week if I ever saw one. There's also a guy who's 0-19 on this card. That's wonderful.
That's atrocious. I mean, 1-9, maybe 1-18 we could live with. But 0-19, boy, that's the Cleveland Browns of boxing, huh?
That's
wow.
mean.
Hey, the Browns are projecting up.
Yes, they are.
They can't get any worse than they were last year, so never mind.
Well, just as an aside on that, to show you that there doesn't seem to be a bottom to that franchise. You remember, Rich, 2 weeks ago on that Brazilian card, the main event with that Eric Anders guy?
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay, well, I found out that he was he played on an Alabama national championship team as a starting linebacker. I think we're talking like 2007, 2008, something like that. And he was drafted into the NFL, so he made it. Now, regrettably for him, he made it to the Cleveland Browns. So he lasted a year or two, and then he went off into other things, so he's into MMA now. Now, you would think that everyone in the NFL could play on the Alabama team, but not everyone on the Alabama team could make it to the NFL. Yet all they talked about was just playing on the Alabama team. They didn't even mention his time in the NFL, and I'm wondering if that's because of the team he was with, you know. No bottom. There is no bottom for that team. I mean, I'm glad I'm not a football fan. There go the rest of my hair. Unbelievable. I mean, it's astonishing. They kept talking about Alabama, and I'd have to think the NFL is the end goal if you're a football player.
Well,
I'd want to mention former NFL player.
All I can say is thanks for Josh Gordon. I think he's going to work out.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be so Cleveland. Okay. Because you remember where Bill Belichick made his mistakes and got started.
Yeah, right.
So it's just, remember the phrase, God hates Cleveland. Hates. And, that would be, if Belichick has the key to get Gordon sober, which Cleveland tried for several years, But yeah, I just found that astonishing about that Eric Anderson guy. It's just, he played for Alabama. Never mind the fact that he played in the NFL. I mean, I think ex-NFL player seems more, to me. I don't know, maybe I'm reading it wrong.
The best college team, or do you talk about the worst NFL team?
Yeah, that's it. But still, you used to think, are you talking about the best team in AAA ball, or are you talking about a team in the major leagues? Well, I don't know. But then again, there's never been a franchise like the Cleveland Browns, ever. In the history of the NFL, no one has lost like that. So, anyways, I'll get back to business here.
Luis Neri over in Baja, California, fighting Jason Canoy. Luis is undefeated. At bantamweight, World Boxing Council silver bantamweight title on the line. Canoy is 27-8-2. Then we got light flyweights Kenya Enriquez, 20-1, fighting Norladis Graterol, who is 7-0 for the interim WBC World Female Light Flyweight title. How'd you like to be a female named Norladis? Jeez. How'd she get dates? Norladis Graterol. That's a tough one. Anyway, that's it for that card. There's an interesting one in Mexico, main event super featherweights. Johnny Gonzalez, his record is 66-10, fighting Thomas Rojas, whose record is 49-16-1. Combine those, these guys almost have 140 fights, it looks like, total. Yikes, 150 maybe. It's only for the World Boxing Council Latino super featherweight title. 66 wins for Johnny Gonzalez. That's a lot for this day and age. That's the kind of record you'd see in Rocky's day. And we got a fight in New Zealand. Vacant New Zealand Professional Boxing Association middleweight title on the line. Also vacant Universal Boxing Federation Asia Pacific middleweight title. Bo O'Brien, he is 6-1-1, fighting Gunnar Jackson, who's 27-11-4. That's really the only one that card worth mentioning. We got a fight in Poland. Main event, Krzysztof Wlodarczyk, 55-4-1 at cruiserweight, fighting Al Sands, who's 20-3. And then we got middleweights, Patrick Szymanski, 19-0, fighting Furad El Masoudi, who's 14-11. I think they should call the guy who's 0-19. We got 19-0 versus 0-19.
Not even one win. I mean, it just like you said, just even 0-18 and one draw would be better. You know, if he at least came closer, be some dim ray of hope. Get back in the gym, all right, kid. We held him to the draw.
Did not lose one.
Yeah. Well, again, going back to the Cleveland Browns first game of the year, they got a draw against the Steelers. And
I was about to say the same thing. I was like, after losing like almost 1-31 over 2 seasons, it's like, you know what? We've lost, say, like 20-some consecutive games. We didn't lose this one. We are on the right path.
And to me, that took all the, because I'm a very casual football watcher, and that took all the joy out of this season, because no one had lost that much in the history of the NFL going back to 1920. And every loss was further into the record books.
Yeah, right.
Now they have to start a whole new streak. I mean, they're capable of doing it, but they're going to have to lose another 15 or 20 in a row before I'll pay attention to them. There you go.
We also have a fight in Puerto Rico. Miguel Cotto promoting now. He is got a one-fight card, it looks like, unless there's some more obscure fights we don't know about. And I posted here. It just says Puerto Rico, so they don't have too much information about it. They don't even have the city. Jose Jose Lopez, 20 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, fighting Jonathan Oquendo, who's 28-5. At super featherweight for the vacant WBO and ABO super featherweight title. I believe that's the bulk of the fights this week. Oh, there we go. Of course, we got one in Thailand. Wisaksil Wangek. He is 46-4-1, fighting Aran Diaz, who's 14-2-3. This is for the WBC World Super Flyweight title there in Thailand at the Impact Arena. I like that name. Ooh, we thought 0-19 was bad. We had Robert Mueller, now we got John Brennan in the United Kingdom.
Come on, no, that can't, really.
This is his real name. John Brennan, he's 9-5-1 in the co-main event as a super welterweight, fighting Victor Erdaga, who is 0-40 with 1 draw.
Wait, he said he has 0-40 with 1 draw?
1 draw.
1 draw, okay. Yeah, now if this is the John Brennan that everyone knows and loves or hates, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on, boy, if I'm in the other corner there, come on, work that body. Look at that slop. Work that body, okay?
It's from the Stone Leisure Center. And we also have a guy who's 0-20 on the card, and another guy who's 0-27. And
you notice all these fights all these records are earned overseas, aren't they?
I guess so. And we got the guy from Pawn Stars, Richard Harrison, 3-30. That's his record. Oh, that's his real name. Yikes. Crazy records. And then, if that's not crazy enough, there's another UK card underneath that one, and there's the guy in the main event, fighting a guy who's 5-0, Jack Kilgannon. Is the guy who's 5-0, and he's fighting Louis Van Poach, whose record is 7 wins, 80 losses, and 1 draw.
1 draw. One draw.
You're 1 draw. He's lucky to have it, I guess. And the ESPN...
You still have to wonder who those 7 guys are that he defeated. Right. But there'd be some interesting records there, too, you know.
Well, I mean, isn't it pretty obvious? You said the 7 guys you defeated, right? I mean, Sleepy, Doc, Dobie, Grumpy, Happy, you know.
We got a UK card on ESPN, and I don't think they're going to show any of the opponent guys on that one. But we have a lot of title fights from Leicestershire, United Kingdom, ESPN Plus. Jack Catterall in the main event. He's 22-0, fighting O'Hara Davies, who's 18-1. That's for the WBO Intercontinental Super Lightweight title. Then we got Sam Bowen at Super Featherweight, 13-0, fighting Horacio Alfredo Cabral, who is 21-2. That one's for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Super Featherweight title. Alright, yeah, so 2 Intercontinental titles. Then we got the Interim World Boxing Organization World Female Flyweight title on a line between Nicola Adams, who's 4-0, and Isabel Milan, who's 22-4-1. And then we got Super Featherweight Leon Woodstock, 11-0, fighting Archie Sharp, who's 13-0. Here's our somebody's always got to go fight. This one's for the World Boxing Organization European Super Featherweight title. Then we got Kevin Johnson, 32-10-1, fighting Daniel Dubois, who's 8-0. So, decent fight there. I don't know if that one will be televised, though. Let's see, what else? Lots of stuff going on in the UK Saturday. Whew. William Warburton in action again. I know we've talked about this guy. He's in the main event in Tottenham, London. Fighting a guy who's 9-0, Brad Paul. William is 26. wins, 141 losses, and 10 draws. He's going for his 142nd loss. Good luck, William.
Wow.
Almost to 150, buddy. Here's another William with a better record. St. Petersburg, Florida, Fire Fist Boxing. William Silva, 25-2, fighting Jose Ferrero, who's 13-7-1. We got co-main event Mark Reyes, 7-0, fighting. Oh, Jesus, fight of the week. Juan Jesus Rivera Garces, who is 28-21, so obviously needs a miracle to win the vacant American Boxing Federation Continental America's welterweight title.
Well, I think we've covered all bases. We've got our somebody so's got to go, our Denise fight, and some of our horrifying lopsided records. But now we got that
Francophone.
Was that Francophone belt?
Yeah.
Okay, now we got to, hopefully, we'll see more of that come up in the future, so I guess that's our other category.
It's right after the Obama phone fight.
I wonder what that Francophone belt's going to look like. That'd be a fun Google.
I don't know. We got another somebody's always got to go fight. A little higher caliber one in Chicago. Co-main event here, but the main event is Daniel Roman, 25-2-1, fighting Gavin McDonald, or McDonnell, I should say, who's got 20 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. That one's for the WBA World Super Bantamweight title. Surprisingly, this isn't on any TV, but it's Eddie Hearn Matchroom Boxing in the United States. You'd think it would be on DAZN with his big, signing there. But I don't know why that's not listed. Probably is. Anyway, co-main event, Artur Beterbiev at light heavyweight. He's undefeated at 12-0, fighting Callum Johnson, who's 17-0. That's for the International Boxing Federation World Light Heavyweight title. Jesse Vargas also on the card. He's 28-2 with 1 draw, fighting Thomas Dulorme, who's 24-3. And Jarrell Miller at heavyweight, 21-0-1, fighting. Get this, Tomas Adamek, coming out of retirement again. 53-5 is his record.
Wow.
Also, the female fight on the card is Jessica McCaskill, 5-2, fighting Erica Annabella Farias, who is 26-2, with the WBC World Female Super Lightweight title. There's a lot of stuff going on. Also, if that's not enough action for you, Anthony Sims Jr. at light heavyweight, 15-0, fighting Mario Aguilar, who's 19-5. And a bunch of lesser fights there. To fill the bill. And we got fights in Philly, of course, down at Pennsylvania Athletic Commission. No, the 2300 Arena, I should say.
Well, yeah.
Darmani Rock, 12-0 at heavyweight, fighting Pedro Julio Rodriguez, who's 23-5. And then we got Pedro's brother, it looks like, Jerome Rodriguez, who's 7-9-3. Fighting Jeremy Cuevas, who's 10-0. Gadwin Rosa at super featherweight is undefeated at 7-0, fighting Aldemar Silva, who is 21-13. And we got Brandon Pizarro at lightweight, 11-1, fighting Justin Johnson, who's 6-18-6. All right.
Well, that's very symmetrical. That was like the Cleveland Browns, 131-1.
Alright, so that about does it for the upcoming boxing. That's all Saturday stuff, believe it or not. There's not even calculated Fridays. So, we've got...
Before we move to anything else, there was one thing I did want to just quickly bring up. I didn't get to watch the whole card, and it kind of caught me off guard. There were fights last Sunday night. It was like 4 hours worth of fights on FS1. And they had, a undercard for 2 hours, and then a main card for 2 hours. They just switched the announcers out.
Oh.
But one fight was the heavyweight where his opponent walked out last month. I don't have everything in front of me.
Right.
But so he was out there, and they're like, on the positive side, he's got somebody that will come in and fight tonight. And when the fight was over, after only a matter of, probably not even a minute, my dad made probably the best statement. He goes, "That guy's gonna walk in the ring too." Because this guy, we're talking about a talented fighter, good power, big heavyweight, and he hits his boy with the right hand, and it just opened his face up, and he went down in the corner, face down, and I give him all the credit in the world. He did get up, but it's over. A very good stoppage there.
Wow. Straight from Tony. I didn't get to see that, but I did read about him coming back since the first fight, since that fight. But we didn't get to finish recapping Bellator 206, so we're going to shift into that. As I mentioned, Gegard Mousasi gets the big win over Rory McDonald in the main event. That was switched out for the pig in England. Second round only lasted 2 rounds, 3 minutes and 23 seconds in. Quentin Rampage Jackson lived up to his name and rampaged right over Wanderlei Silva. I don't know if you saw any of this, Tom, but I totally missed it, so feel free to update me if you did.
So Silva is just sad. It's really sad. I remember his killer days in Pride when he was he was one of the most feared fighters in the world back then. This is sad. It's my only comment.
All right. Well, that was 4 minutes and 32 seconds into the second round, so he was literally just seconds away from lasting through the round before he got knocked out. But sounds like a big clinic put on by Quentin Jackson, although he didn't look like he was in crazy shape for this one. I see it against Wonder. Douglas Lima also got a big win over Andre Korf. That one went to the 5th round, 3 minutes and 4 seconds into it. It was a technical submission, rim-naked choke win for Lima. And we also had Aaron Pico looking good with a big step up against Leandro Higo, getting the win there very quickly. First round, 3 minutes and 19 seconds in. And Kerry Melendez also getting a big win over Dakota Zimmerman by split decision. Gaston Bolanos beat Isidro Gutierrez by second round knockout. 1 minute and 37 seconds into that round. And for some reason, Sherdog still has 3 fights listed as yet to come. I don't know how that is on a fight that happened last week. But, oh well. Adam Piccolotti got a big win over James Terry, and in his decision there. Arlene Blencow earlier in the night beat Amber Lee Brock by TKO from a slam and punches 1 minute and 23 seconds into the third. Jeremiah Labiano beat Justin Smitley by TKO in the first round, 3 minutes and 28 seconds into that. Josh San Diego beat Joe Neal by split decision. Chuck Campbell beat Joseph Ramirez by UB, and Anthony Figueroa II beat Samuel Romero by UB as well. And then we have the big one, UFC 229, Nurmagomedov versus McGregor. Lots to talk about with both co-main events here. Big fights for all 4 guys. Khabib, of course, the proverbial favorite with the record, but Conor is probably the popular favorite with the backing of the fans. There's only 2 fights between them as far as records go. Khabib has 2 more. Conor has 3 losses. Khabib has none. But you might say Conor's fought the tougher talent over the last 5 years or so here.
Well, and not only that, but this is like a throwback fight to the early days with style versus style. because we don't see too much of that anymore. But no disrespect to Khabib stand-up, but you know what his game plan is. You know what he's going to try to do. There's no question about that. We know how hard Conor hits. Historically, when you see that kind of a matchup, you want to go with the grappler, because eventually, working against law of gravity, and the fight's going to wind up on the floor. And Khabib's been, no one can stop his takedowns. His cardio's great. So why am I going with Conor in this fight? I keep asking myself, and I'll say, well, first off, this is a big event. And Conor has been here this is a gigantic event. Huge. Conor's handled that kind of pressure before. Can Khabib. I know when you get in there and the gate slam shut, it's all still a fight. But this is a little different. Conor looked great in his interview a couple nights ago. He just seems like he's relaxed. He's back in his element. And even if Khabib gets him down, I went back and watched the Barbarossa fight. And went back and watched the Al Quinta fight. And it's like, where's Khabib's submission game at?
Right.
He can get you down, and he can work you over, but both of those fights should have been finished. They weren't. So if he does get Conor down, is it necessarily the end of the world for Conor? And I'll make my point there, you got a primetime Mark Coleman, let him get you down. You're not going to get up. This is a horrifying beat he's going to put on you, but Khabib just doesn't. I haven't seen that finishing skill where it's like, damn, okay, the fight's over. Or with the submissions, he's just. Even John Jones brought up the point he should be working on his submission game. He's damn good at getting you down, but these fights go on way too long. And I think this is Conor's ace in the hole here. Because even if he does get taken down, he's good at getting back to his feet, even though no one's been able to be too successful at it with Khabib. But with Conor, there's something about him. He just rises to the occasion in these big events. Who would have thought that he'd be that competitive against Floyd? I didn't.
Right.
But somehow, he just, and even in the rematch with Nate Diaz, he made his adjustments. So, Nate Diaz. So, I just feel that Conor is going to be able to control the action a little more in his favor. So we'll see. What say you?
Well, basically it comes down to takedown defense. And I did see some of the preview show stuff where, it's all about where Khabib trains and how everybody says that he mows them down and goes through people and just imposes his will on people. But, a lot of the guys there that they're touting as these big legends and everything like that, they're kind of on the back end of their careers. They're not really up and coming younger guys. And not saying that there's not really great talent there. Talking about Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier are the top two guys at this gym. And Conor McGregor, I think, comes from a totally different mentality. And Khabib is just so dominant with his wrestling that if Conor can stuff takedown or keep his distance and not even get into grappling range and just pull Jose Aldo, knock him out in 13 seconds, that's the problem with picking against Conor. Everybody wants to say that Khabib is a completely different fighter, but so was Jose Aldo before he got knocked out in 13 seconds.
Exactly, and I'm going to fall back on that old cliche. Everybody has a plan until they get hit. And one shot from a power puncher. And
I really was not impressed with what Khabib did with Al Quinta on a week's notice.
Right.
He beat the crap out of him, but really he didn't really look impressive doing it. It looked just like Al didn't have enough time to prepare. He probably would have done a lot better if he did at a full camp. Right,
and again, I'm going to have to repeat myself. Where is the finishing ability here? I'm not seeing it.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying he hasn't finished before, but he's being built up like this invincible, unstoppable juggernaut, this machine that just comes through and it's like a tornado. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen that in some of his fights.
I heard you were trending on Twitter the other day, Tony. Tornado warning. Tornado warning, and it was in Pennsylvania too. Where were you? Were you out west? Did we lose him? He's taking his bathroom break because we're doing MMA talk.
Oh, okay. We'll continue to march.
Tony Ferguson, another Tony, and Tony Pettis, Anthony Pettis, as the co-main event there. And I really think Tony Ferguson coming back from injury might be a little rusty, and Anthony Pettis is on the rise. So this one really could be quite the barn burner. Obviously, it's very important for title contention. Yeah,
I would think Ferguson is pretty well back because remember it wasn't an ACL, it was an LCL, I guess, but which was not as bad. So you see, physically, it's not. And the question mark is Pettis. If you asked me 3-4 years ago who my favorite fighter was in the UFC, Anthony would have probably come up because he was just on another level. And I suspect there was a lot of stuff going on outside of the cage with him. And things just seem to, I mean, I don't know this.
Where people attacked his house and burned his cars and stuff?
A couple times that happened. Yeah. Now, when someone burns cars in your driveway twice, okay, it just, again, I don't know. I've never seen anything. I don't know the man personally. I have no idea what's going on here. But something went completely off the rails in his personal life, and as you know, it's my old saying, fighting is a jealous mistress. Mm-hmm. A very jealous mistress. It requires single-minded focus and dedication, and some fighters can do okay with a three-ring circus, but this seems even beyond that. So the question is does he have that part of his life under control? That's the mystery. Because if he does, he's capable of pulling this off. If we see the guy that ran up the fence and did that flying kick to Benson Henderson, if we see that kind of guy with just everything going for him, great cardio, just unorthodox fights, great submission game, everything, the guy has it all. But are we going to get that version of him? Has he been able to calm the rest of his life down? And I don't know. I haven't had time to watch the embeddeds.
No.
The UFC 229. They have the embedded series is probably done yet, so I don't know. But
Tony's
then again, they're not
with his striking. He's I think a much better stand-up fighter at this stage of his career. But Pettis could surprise us. You know, he could really have it all together and be on the right track now. So I really think it's going to be very competitive. Could go either way. Might end up being a split decision for Tony, but I like him to get the knockout if it's a one-sided fight. And I think.
I think on paper we have to go with Tony, based on his recent performances. I mean, right now he's just probably awful upset with himself over missing out on the guy fight before, and he's still hungry for it. Listen to his interviews, so he seems ready to go. But it'll be fascinating to see what happens.
Yeah, it's a crazy week. This week we've got Russians, Robert Mueller, John Brennan.
Well, I keep thinking of John Brennan and MMA Speedos. Well, that's a thought. What an obscenity. My mind's sick. Even Mueller, for that matter, picture him trying to climb in the cage.
Yeah. We also have Dominic Reyes, 9-0, fighting Oven St. Preux, OSP is his nickname. 23-11 is OSP. And we got Alexander Volkov, a former kickboxer. He's 30-6. And he's fighting the Beast, Derek Lewis, who is 20-5. And
that's intriguing. That's really intriguing.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens because the pressure's on Lewis. I mean, Lewis did his job last time. But let's just say it wasn't a barn burner.
Right.
In fact, it may have been the fewest punches thrown in any UFC fight, going back to, Taylor Starnes, that run away from Nate Corey. I don't know if you ever had the misfortune of seeing that fight.
No, but I've heard the legacy. I've heard about the legacy of it. So there was a website.
It was an absolute horror show. I mean, all he did was run backwards, and he was damn good at it. He really had that down. He must have been practicing in a cage somewhere because he wasn't even looking behind him.
Huh.
But he was running, like sprinting back. I had never seen, and that was the end of his career. Dana was so mad his contract was torn to confetti.
And we have a story later on about Dana and contracts, and it's getting pretty heated. But to continue this card, we've got this is a stacked card, top to bottom. Like a real legend on undercard, very undercard. But anyway, the female fight in the middle is Michelle Watterson, the Karate Hottie, her nickname. 15-6. She's fighting Felice Herrig, 15-7. Who has sued a video game over using her likeness. But, yeah, so these are two pretty interesting characters here going at each other. Then we got our former guest, Sergio Pettis. Interviewed him years and years ago before he was in the UFC. He is 17-3, fighting Jussier da Silva, who is 21-5. Then we have Vincent Luque, 13-6-1, fighting Jalen Turner, who's 7-3. Another female fight, Tanya Evinger, 19-6, fighting Aspen Ladd, who's 6-0. And we got Alan Patrick Silva Albs, 15-1, fighting Scott Holtzman, who's 11-2. And third fight tonight, Yana Kunitskaya, another Russian, 10-4, fighting Alina Landsberg, who's 8-3. And here's the legend I was talking about, Gray Maynard, hasn't been around in a while.
Oh, my old buddy there. Yeah, I met him the first time I went to Las Vegas. That was the fights. Yeah, nice guy.
He's fighting the Carney, Nick Lentz, 28-9-2 for the Carney is his record. Then we got the first fight tonight, Ryan LaFleur, 14-2, and Tony Martin, 13-4.
Well, I'd say with Gray, every fight at this stage is it's got to be showtime. I mean, he'll be 40 years old next year, and it's just things have just been terrible for him. So I mean, hopefully he can get out. And that Tanya Evinger fight, I don't know if they take odds. You know, like in the NFL, they do the over/under on points. And I don't know what the over/under would be on her lasting, but do you remember her when she fought Cyborg? Do you remember that fight?
Yes, it did not last long.
It was, well, no, that's the point. It did last long.
Oh,
it lasted longer than it should have.
Yeah.
I believe she took a horrifying beat. It was a street mugging.
Yeah.
And this went on into, I think, the third, at least the second round, maybe the third round. I'm pretty sure. And finally, this complete mismatch was stopped. So I just wonder if there's over/under odds on what round it'll get to, because if she could make it that far against Cyborg, and it was just horrible. But we'll see if you know. My money says it'll go to decision with her. No, I don't know enough about her opponent to comment on that. He's going to win, but that would be my over/under. Go in the distance.
Well, Joanna Jedrzejczyk is having a little contract dispute with the UFC, as I previewed earlier. She's nicknamed Bullet. She's one of the most ruthless strikers in all of MMA. She was a champ for a couple of years there, and she's now been in camp for several months, and she was supposed to fight Nico Montana. The fight never came to fruition, and then the promotion came to her and requested to move their flyweight title bout from December 8th in Toronto to November 3rd in New York, and then the UFC went behind her back and moved the fight anyway and replaced her with Ultimate Fighter finalist Sijara Eubanks. So she was going to be fighting Valentina Shevchenko after the Montana fight fell through. Then they just totally switched it because she didn't get back to them in time or whatever. But this is her comments. She said the already signed contract on the 8th of December was ignored. They were trying to persuade me into taking the fight in November, at the same time depriving me of a chance to properly prepare for the fight during the camp. Valentina is a challenging opponent, and my goal was, and actually still is, to prepare for this fight as best as I can, and to eventually become the UFC flyweight champion. I could fight in New York if I was interested only in money. Due to respect for other fighters and myself, I rejected the offer made by the UFC to change the day of the fight, as my main goal is to be at my best from during the fight, and in order to do that, I have to do my job from start to finish. I feel truly resentful about the breach of the fight agreement. My feelings are even more intensified when I think of the obligations I had to resign from, as they would have happened in the time of my camp. I always plan for everything long before a fight announcement. Once I sign the contract, there's nothing more important than fight preparations. I always try to put myself in somebody else's situation, be it a life or a business one. Thus, I understand the quick decision made by the UFC to keep people to save the event in NYC. Everything happens for a reason. Sooner or later, I'll become the champ in 2 weight classes. So, it doesn't look like she's coming back to 115 anytime soon in this flyweight title fight. Going to the UFC 230 main event was a last-ditch effort to get the promotion's return to Madison Square Garden top of the championship contest. So, since they couldn't get this one to materialize, they robbed Joanna to pay Valentina. So, Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier were supposed to fight for the inaugural 165-pound strap, but Dana White just refused to create more weight classes.
Yeah, that was a funny interview. I don't know what the he's talking about. He's out of his mind now.
So, the funny thing is that the main event is going to create a new weight class anyway, for the women. So, ridiculous. You won't do 165 pounds. So anyway, won't see Nate Diaz anytime soon. And
well, now wait a minute. Is there something I've missed on that? So Nate is backed out of that card?
Yeah, not fighting.
Oh, when did this happen?
I guess recently, because I just read the other day that Dana White and him were battling back and forth about the 165-pound weight class.
Well, yeah, but I thought this was at 155 or 170. I know 155. Yeah, not 170.
It wasn't over the weight, because they could have fought a catch weight. He wanted not only the weight class, but he wanted the belt to be on the line.
Well, there's no division. I mean, I kind of thought that it was. I mean, I didn't take it really too serious, but I thought if he couldn't get that, if he's going to complain about that the fight would still be on. So Nate says, "I'm not going to show up." Well, yeah, but I miss those guys so much, but they don't fight.
It is what it is, They can't get along with management. Can't go to Bellator. So, we'll see. Well, maybe they can go to Bellator. We don't know yet.
Well, yeah, I wonder if they could go to Bellator. Of course, I wonder if they even want to fight.
No. We'll find out. Anyway, I believe that's all we have for today's show. Thanks for stopping by and listening in. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with a guest. We've had a lot of opportunities to find him for sure. And
I was just going to ask you guys, because I didn't get a chance to last week. Have you seen the second trailer for Creed 2?
I have not.
No. I'll send you guys the link. It looks good. This one, because the first one they did, they showed the Michael B. Jordan Adonis Creed character. And then at the end, they hit to Drago. Because then you see, like, oh, this guy's dangerous, oh, this guy's this. And then you see the guy turns around the back of the road, says Drago. But this one, it shows Dolph Lundgren in it. It shows the Florian Mentiu who plays Victor Drago. It shows him working out. I mean, the guy's doing push-ups with battle ropes. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. Yeah. So, and somebody was like saying, like on Instagram, I follow the Creed 2 Instagram page, and it says, "How the hell is this guy supposed to be a light heavyweight, and it's like, he's huge. And I'm like, no. I said, I was there on set. This film, Adonis Creed moves up to heavyweight because his fight with stuntman Wheeler is for the heavyweight championship of the world. Max Kellerman's like, tonight's fight, Adonis Creed goes for the very title his trainer Rocky Balboa held, and his father, the late great Apollo Creed, held, a.k.a. the heavyweight championship of the world. So, I will, but I'll send this to you guys, that way you can see it. I think you'll enjoy it. It looks exciting. 2 weeks we got the new Halloween movie coming out. I was watching some reviews on that, and that looks pretty exciting too.
Yeah. So,
hey, I'm not just the Rain Man of boxing, but I'm the Rain Man of good movies. I don't watch none of that terrible Titanic shit. Halloween and Rocky and Elm Street and Friday the 13th. That's the tornado genre.
There you go. Well, we can't wait to see you on the big screen, Tony. We know you're going to be having at least one scene in the new one.
I certainly hope so. I hope set up a front row behind us in Wheeler's corner. So hopefully you can just see me and my stupid looking fedora for a second. All I want, my fedora and my flamingo tie. So that's all I ask for in the world. Before we go, you guys will get a kick out of this. I don't think I had a chance to tell you last week. A few months ago, right before I went to Florida, 1 week before I filmed the movie, we went out to happy hour, and I snuck to the bathroom, and I wanted to give the girl, she wouldn't take it, a few dollars to come over and say, oh my God, are you the guy from the Phillies game? We've seen you on TV and this and that. Well, she said she got shy, so she had the busboy come over. And they're like, hey, oh my God, aren't you back in the Phillies games? And they did the whole thing. All my coworkers were like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So weeks after that, that's when my commercial came out, my filming band commercial. And then a few weeks after that, I filmed the Creed 2. So I stopped in this place last week to pick up something for a lunch we were having at work. And I saw the girl that was our waitress, and I was like, and I'll say, my coworkers still talk about the day. And she's like, you've never told them the truth? I'm like, oh, hell no. And I said, every time I retell the story, I exaggerate it more and more. So, and then we were saying something, I was like, I said, they were joking about now that I got the movie film, and she's like, what? Oh my God, I told you. She goes, oh my God, this would be great. She goes, set up a happy hour, make sure I'm working. I'm going to come over and be like, excuse me, you were in that movie, weren't you? Oh my God, can we get your... And Bella was the living shit out of it, and then I'm going to come in a couple of hours earlier, and I'm going to pay for some of the food, and I'm going to have the management come over and be like, excuse me, sir, in honor of you coming into our restaurant tonight, please have a pizza on the house, and it's an honor to have you here, and... So, I think that'll be quite entertaining. At least, and if nobody's entertained, at least I will.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, one big story in boxing this week that I neglected to mention, HBO has gone and decided to leave boxing altogether. They're getting out of the boxing business, and you think back at all the historic fights HBO has had, probably the biggest one, Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. But before that, George Foreman upsetting Joe Frazier. Unbelievable amount of history there. 45 years of covering the sport. But 2019, they're going away from programming live boxing on HBO. They could do some here and there. They're going to remain open to looking at events that fit their mix, but that just might include boxing. It's not for sure going to include boxing for the foreseeable future. So they also said this is not just a subjective decision, that their audience has informed them that boxing is no longer a determining factor in them subscribing to HBO. So obviously that shows you the kind of moves Showtime has made. Makes it very tough for HBO to stay in the game. Going to be able to, kind of cement Showtime as the number one cable operator in boxing, but it's also not really going to create much of a void because we've also got DAZN and ESPN Plus trying to get more stuff for their services, and obviously Showtime will pick up some slack, and they've got their 3-year extension with Premier Boxing Champions. We got Eddie Hearn recently signed a $1 billion deal. ESPN reached a 7-year deal with Top Rank, and Fox Sports just signed a deal with Premier Boxing Champions as well. So, plenty of other players in the industry to fill that gap, but obviously a big step for HBO to just turn their backs on that kind of a history. It's when the going gets tough, but different market. And, you gotta listen to your subscribers, I guess.
Yeah.
Business is business. Anyway. So that's about all we've got for this week. So you guys got any final thoughts to pipe in?
No, that'll be it, man.
Alright, guys.
All right, guys. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Next week.